Welcome, everybody. My name is Benjamin Poole. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to go over a couple different stocks. I'm going to go over Netflix at a request of one of the subscribers on my channel. The other one is NVIDIA. I know that's a really popular stock that had recently been beaten down. The last couple of days, it's gotten a little bit of a bid. So I'm going to show you what the chart is telling me as a potential upside. I'm also going to go over hidden trend lines in the NVIDIA chart. And I'm going to actually request that you send me some stocks that have hidden trend lines that you've identified and see if I can spot those. And I'll possibly go over them in the following video. The other one is Tesla. I have this beautiful parallel channel that has been not only support, but also resistance inside of this trend line. And I'm also going to show you where price action is likely to go. The first stock I'm going to cover is let's go over Tesla first. So here's this upswing parallel channel. So what I've done is I've connected this pivot low from the 11th of February and created this upswing trend line. See how price action got rejected from the upper end? And then I've taken this and extended this all the way down to the lower end of this price action. So this gives us a base or the lower end of the support level for this parallel channel. And I want you to also realize or notice, look at the midline of this parallel channel. As support or as price action is underneath, it continually gets rejected until then it gets above and then it acts as support and continues to chop right inside of this middle line of this parallel channel. This shows you how price action is going to respond, gets to the upper end of this parallel channel, gets rejected, tries to reach back up to the top, and then continues lower. So right now, we still have this upswing parallel channel as support, at least on the lower end. It got close to that level, got a bounce at this gap fill. Now it's heading higher. So what is the chart telling me that's going to happen next? The next possible outcome for Tesla is price action is going to get to this gap fill at $430.60. If price action can push through that level, you not only have this wide range red bar candle, this was the opening candle, but you've also got the midline where price action is likely to get rejected. Now, I wouldn't be looking for too much of a rejection on this trade as far as a day trade goes, but this would be a nice solid entry point on a day trade for a potential short right around $445. On a swing trade basis, any close above this midline, you would want to go ahead and stop out and wait for a move all the way up to around $510.67. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this trend, this parallel channel and these support and resistance lines real quick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out in the charts. Here's where this here's where the upside potential can go for Tesla. You've got this upsloping trend line that connects this pivot high from the highs of 2021, secondary pivot at 17th of December 2024. So what I've done is connected those two upsloping trend lines or those two pivots to see where Tesla could possibly go. And that would be the third hit of this upsloping trend line, which would take an upside target to $510.67. Oftentimes what happens is price action likes to pierce that level. So it could go up to 525 and then get rejected. But being as this would be the third hit of this upswing trend line, you're likely to get rejected. On a swing trade basis, even if it closes above this upswing trend line, I would still hold on to this for a short and dollar cost average into this thing, knowing how far down on the charts this thing can move. Look at what happened from the highs of 2024. You got a huge pullback, as much as 56% from the highs, which means that if price action does get it back above that, you can look for at least a 15 to 20% pullback, likely to get back to this pivot top where you're going to get some support. So that's what I would be doing on the chart of Tesla. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put those lines back on. Here's the parallel channel. Upsloping parallel channels do favor a move to the downside. What I'm looking for is a break and confirmation below this upsloping trend line or the lower end of this parallel channel for a potential breakdown. If we can get price action below this, continue below it with confirmation, then I would wait for a retrace to the scene of the crime and then short this parallel channel and look for a downside target of around $315 or even $300 even number. So if we waited for a retrace to the scene of the crime, this could be a potential downside move, another 20+% at this entry price. So that's what I'm looking at in Tesla. Right now, it still favors a continuation to the upside, but what we're waiting for is a continuation or a break of this upsloping parallel channel. The next chart we're going to go over is Netflix. I'm actually long Netflix in my swing trading service. I didn't wait for any fib levels, but what I did was I looked at the price action that's happening in Netflix, and I really like what's going on in this chart. Here's the chart of Netflix. What I like is you've got this downsloping trend line. This is more of a hidden trend line. And I kind of went over this with the Bitcoin chart, where you've got this downsloping trend line that connects the lows. So you got price action here. It kissed it here. This was the third hit. Fourth hit finally broke this. Now we're actually starting to consolidate right underneath this, what was support, now resistance. When price action gets support underneath resistance, let's try that again. When price action consolidates underneath resistance, there is a likelihood that price is just bubbling up underneath and waiting for a move to the upside. From the all-time highs, this is a 23% move to the downside. If we still have more upside in this, then I like this as a swing trade long position. Plus, you've got this February pivot high as far as support with an additional add level with this upsloping trend line. So look at where price action came from. This goes back to October of 2023. In my last video, I was mentioning how the longer a trend line goes, or the further back a trend line goes, the more solidity it has, which means that if price action is above this upsloping trend line, every time it hits that, it's going to maintain that support because it has extended for as long as it has. Another thing to think about when you're looking at upsloping trend line is when the recency was that it hit. I do know that the more often something hits on a trend line, the weaker it becomes, but you've also got to look at the time frame. Look at when the last time Netflix hit this trend line. This wasn't back until the 7th of April 2025, which means that once price action gets into this, it's almost like this upsloping trend line has reset, which would give this more confidence, or the investors more confidence, to then push this move up on Netflix. So overall, I like the support levels on Netflix in this area. If we start breaking this upsloping trend line to the downside, I would likely stop out of the trade and look for a potential short. What I'm looking for is a breakdown, a continuation move, and then a retrace to the scene of the crime, and then I can enter a short. One of the things I like about entering on a retrace is it minimizes the amount of risk that I have in the stock. So if it confirms below and then it recaptures that support level, then I can always stop out and then possibly even switch that into a long play. It's a way to minimize the risk while maximizing the reward. There is a low pivot on Netflix that if price action wants to get a little bit lower, $82.76 is where the next major support level is going to be. This would be a pretty substantial fall to the downside. It would be another 22% move to the downside. Plus, you've also got the secondary support, or the secondary pivot, that's going to provide it with a lot more support as well. I don't necessarily see Netflix going down that far, but sometimes Netflix or any stock can really move to the downside. So the last chart I'm going to go over is NVIDIA, and then I'm going to hop off here. Here's the chart of NVIDIA. What I want you guys to see is this pivot low. I'm going to connect this pivot low all the way through this area, and look at this. This is what's considered a hidden trend line. So you notice how price action stayed above this as support. Once it got below, this same support trend line on the bottom side was then resistance. Look at how it hit this level, pulled back, got back up to this level, pulled back, and now finally it pierced above it. And look at the rejection that happened on NVIDIA. So for me, my first long level was $170.29. This is a great long level until this support level breaks. As soon as this support level breaks, then you're likely to come back into this double top area, or the recent all-time high from the 2024 highs. at $153.08. The nice thing is you've also got this support level right here where price action has caught support off of this pivot high. This gives you more, or it gives me more confidence that there are going to be plenty of buyers who are stepping up in droves to bid NVIDIA up. So now my request to you is to see if you can find some hidden trend lines where there's support and resistance. And then even if it's like 1 or 2 shares, just try to play it and see the power of the trend lines and see what magic can happen on using technical analysis. Technical analysis, once you've identified it, once you've targeted it and mastered it, then you can really start increasing your profitability. That's what I have for you guys. If you guys are enjoying this, please make sure you're sharing, you're liking, you're subscribing, you're ringing that bell so you can get notified when these videos go live. And if you guys want to see more charts, 8:45 every single morning, the market is open. I go live on verifiedinvesting.com, and I would love to see you all there, especially as much as you guys comment. If you guys can bring that energy to that as well, I would love to see it. And with that, I will see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.